Everyone, it is John, and I've tried this a couple of times. I'll pull up the complaining person because he's going, "Why am I?" He said, "We did this before." He said, "Why are we doing this again?" Yes, I know, my producer. I had to include him because he is my best friend, aren't you? Yes, he is, and he's giving. Don't you love that look he's giving me? As much as say, "I'm here under sufferance. So when are you going to put me down and let me go back to what I was doing?" Yes, all right, mate. You want to hop back down? Do you want to hop back down? No? All right, so obviously if his head pops up and down, I will just laugh, as I think everybody else will. What has been happening in my life? Look, my usually deteriorating mental health, and you go, "What do you mean deteriorating? You're always looking chirpy and happy when you do your videos." Look, this helps towards my therapy, shall we call it that? And I guess this is me being the person that perhaps I'm not always, or certainly not for the vast majority of time. Anyway, my treating specialist that I see has now finished up, or the unit that she was working at has will no longer support those specialists anymore, and consequently, that person has moved into the city, and that means that I've got to catch a bus, and I really do not cope well with public transport. I'm sorry, public transport, open spaces, crowds are really difficult for me. So I'd be the sort of person, I'd have been probably the pompous bugger from the 1800s, having his servants bash away through the crowd so that nobody could come near him. That's the sort of feeling I get when I go into the city. I wish I could just sort of, get rid of everybody out of my way so that I could get to my destination. But of course, cities are full of lots of people. So for me, it's part of, I guess, the aversion therapy or the immersion. Yes, immerse myself in that which discomforts and distresses me the most. So going into the city is a test of fortitude and will. Yes, I'm not doing well, I can tell you that much. I'm very good at portraying one face, and inside I will be literally in turmoil. But I'm lucky enough, my wife holds my hand and we managed to go in. But the downside now of going into the city is that there's a lot more variety of shops available, and that's bad news for a pensioner. But I will pass on a really good piece of feedback. I went for the first time to a shop called Vault Games, or Vault Games, and they were in Queen Street. And it was the first time I'd been there. I've known about them for ages, but because being in the city, I just don't have many opportunities to go in there. And I would like to say that I was really, really impressed with the level of service and customer dedication, shall we call it that? That the young people gave me, because the Vault Games is below street level, so you have to go down a set of stairs, and they were, as soon as I came down, it was, "Good morning, sir." Well, I don't know, they said "Good morning, sir," but they said, "Good morning, how are you today?" And "Have you checked in?" which is using the quick reference check for the COVID tracing that we run here in Australia. So that was, and I'm there going, "Well, they really are on the ball here." I don't see that in a lot of shops that I go into, but it was really nice to see that the first thing I was greeted very professionally and courteously, which I was really happy with. Then I had another of the people there ask me, are you looking for anything? And of course, I saw immediately what it was that I was wanting, and I pointed and I went, I'm after that obsession. I said, I found what I'm looking for. I don't need to go any further. So here's this old man with his Akubra hat on and his walking stick, and a wife who just wanted to get out of here before I could spend any money. But I went in and I bought my copy of Obsession, which has been an obsession for me for quite some time. I think I probably mentioned that previously. So I was really, really pleased to pick up Obsession. And look, I must say, look, Vault Games, you did a really, really good job. I was quite happy that there was no resentment or aspersion because of one's elderly age. So I was really, really happy that I was treated with respect and got what I needed. So, and of course, my wife shot out of the shop as soon as I'd made my purchase so that I couldn't have a look around. However, she's forgotten that we go in once a fortnight now. So I shall be having a look with a little bit more enthusiasm, shall we say, next time. So that was my visit this week. Oh, sorry, not this week, but the previous time. And that will happen every fortnight now for the moment. So that was really, really good. And of course, look, I've done notes. Am I organised or what today? No, they haven't changed my medication. And as you can probably tell, I've got a different setup behind me at the moment, which means that John's been rearranging his furniture because I'm one of these people who hate anything sitting in one place for very long. So I have found also, to my great detriment, that I'm getting too old to move furniture on myself by myself now. The mind is willing. The body is, shall we say, getting frailer. So I can, in this case, I have done it, but my goodness, I was, I broke damaged one of my pieces of furniture, which really annoyed me because it's one of the few good pieces of furniture that my mother left me. So thankfully, it's just a leg of a sideboard that I can hopefully get fixed up without too much issue. But at this stage, it's doing its purpose at the moment. I just need to bear in mind next time I decide to move anything that I got a dodgy sideboard that will probably have a leg fall off if I'm not careful. So yeah, it's one of those things. I just really hate things being in one place for too long. I constantly have to change my furniture around. It also helps too because it means that I check my collection and I find that, look, some of the books are starting to get a bit dusty on top, or there's a bit of mildew starting to appear on the covers of books, and that's unfortunately Queensland. Our weather here, our high humidity means that we have a lot of problems with preserving books. So unless you have a specifically regulated room for dealing with humidity, look, everything's going to degrade in time. So yes, gaming has been look, it has buoyed me to no end to find that I'm starting to find that since the COVID restrictions here in Queensland have been lifted, the business with masks is gone. Our population is 70 going on 80% properly or everyone had the 2 doses of the jab. Gaming has started to go back to sort of normality now. And with one of the groups that I have that I've got, we finished playing the legacy game of My City, and the lads said, look, we've got a couple of other legacy games that we need to probably play through and finish off. So we've got, I never played it, but the Jason and the others did, and that was Pandemic Legacy Season 1. So I think he said they got up to May, or we'll be starting May. So we've decided that we will play one of the legacy games that we've got and get through it. So at least one game of the legacy game, and then another game from my collection or one of the others that we haven't played. So we're looking at this stage playing games that we have not played, rather than constantly going to, we might play, just sitting here looking at my library from the other end and saying, oh look, we'll play Sagrada, or we'll play Feast of Odin, Feast for Odin, and things like that. So rather than going to, I guess, games that get played too often, we've decided we'll play something that we haven't. So that's our commitment at this stage. And with gaming, I had a lovely couple come round on a Wednesday now to play games. Look, honestly, if I had a car, I would go to my friend Catherine's place for hers, because I'm starting to get feeling a little more confident now with going out, but evenings really don't suit me very well. And of course, not having a motor vehicle really does crimp me, when even by motor vehicle, a lot of my friends are more than half an hour to 45 minutes, or maybe an hour if the traffic's not working well. So here in Australia, we don't mind travelling distances, and time, I guess, is just time that we have to suffer. But no, it was really good. We played Lords of Waterdeep, and that was a cracker of a game. I'd forgotten how much I had enjoyed that. So when we get around to playing that game again, I'm going to include the expansion. What is it? Skullport. I can't remember what the rest of it is. It's sitting off to the side. I can't read that from here. Look, old man, my eyesight's going. So that was what's happening gaming-wise. I've reached 400 subscribers. Who would believe that there are 400 people who have clicked subscribe to a madman who doesn't do too much more than just waffle on about his collection and his life and all sorts of things like that. So look, to the people who subscribe and listen to my madness, look, thank you very much. It's been, I think, 3 years since I've started this channel, or going on 3 years that I've started this channel. And I really don't go out of my way to sort of self-promote or push people to follow me, because I think I'm an acquired taste, like a fine wine, or maybe a good spirit. Yes. And so it is grateful for those people who have subscribed. It's quite good. But even if I only had one subscriber or no subscribers, I would still be producing this content that I put up, because for me, it helps with my therapy, and gives me something to do for maybe half a day, trying to put everything together. Yeah. But as everybody knows, my productions are all Mickey Mouse, because I've got a dog as the producer. So what can you say? And lastly, I will end on, I've noticed that we're getting towards the end of the year, which means everybody starts doing top X number of games. I don't know. It does nothing for me, because once again, everybody's top whatever is usually based on their own personal preference. In most cases, a lot of them tend to include whatever the current flavour is. And I just find that for me, if I was going to put together a top 10 list, which I might be doing at the end of this year, is that I'd probably be looking at, look, these are the games, because I use Board Game Stats, the app, and it records all my games. So probably the only thing I might do there is maybe look at the top 10 games that I've played the most this year. So, however, if my friends and I decide to pursue the concept of playing games that we've not played before, that could be interesting. However, we're playing legacy games. So the legacy games, there'll be quite a few plays within the legacy games. So they'll crop up probably in next year's, or maybe even this year's. Yes, it will in this year's, because my city got 24 games. So I believe it's sitting at the top of my most played game list. But yeah, look, I find top X number of whatever value they're looking for, whether or not be, our top 10 games that deal with, trees, or top 10 science fiction games, or top 10 fantasy, or top 10 whatever. I really, look, to be honest, I can't be bothered. I would, certainly amongst the elite of the board game reviewers and things like that, because in my opinion, they're not average players. I would be far more interested to know what the top X games of a person who is not an addict or a fanatic. I like to think of myself as an enthusiast. I am happy to play games, any games. And so consequently for me, I think a list from a person who just enjoys games and puts together, look, I found these to be the games that we like. For instance, my collection spans 40 years of gaming life. Probably a bit more now, but that's what I look at. And I have games that I have from the 70s that I really enjoy and love. Yet I'm quite sure if I was to put some of them up, I think some people may go, oh look, that's dreadful. That's nobody plays that style of game anymore, because most of the early games that I do have are traditional, what they'd call war games, which is still a board game as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, it's, top whatevers, or people trying to compare things. I find that, I was looking at one channel where they were, reviewing or trying to find comparisons between particular types of games. And again, it's really like art. It's subjective, and what people do and don't make from a game is very much a personal perspective. And so consequently, you just need to really go with what you like. So in other words, if you're looking at, I don't know, Dice Tower's top 10 whatever, bear in mind that's their decision. I think they do a people's choice where everybody votes on theirs, and they take the amalgamation of whatever. I think that is, or they used to. I presume they're probably still doing it. Again, I don't watch very many of the major board game channels anymore, due to the fact that they've gone political, and they've gone, perhaps ideological frameworks, which really annoy me, because as far as I'm concerned, board games should be there for fun, not to push people's political or ideological agendas. So, but this is the world, the way it's going, and I'm just an old man that nobody really pays any attention to. So with that, His Majesty has... Are you going to say goodbye, Pippi? He's ignoring me now because he knows I'm winding up. Come here. We're going to say goodbye to everybody. Oh, he said hello. Looked out. He says, I was just starting to get ready to go to have a big sleep. But yes, he's been a wonderful lad. His coat's cut for the, as you can tell, for the upcoming summers that we have here in Australia, which are hot, humid, and because I have a dreadful backyard, covered in cobbler's pegs. So I'll be picking out little burrs out of you for heavens knows how long. But yes, anyway, look, thank you everybody for watching. Everyone stay safe, and until next time, signing off, the Honourable John and Colonel Pippin.